So you probably just read that heading and thought, what is this guy playing at? And should we be relying on fear and people's problems to do our marketing? Well, the simple solution is yes, we should always be doing it. The best marketers do it. It always gains more traction. I'm going to show you exactly why right now in the next 10 minutes, how you can make sure your marketing is more targeted, more specific, and ultimately drives more results. Alrighty, so look, I work with literally hundreds of clients every single month in the health and medical space. And one thing that we know to be very, very true is that people always buy off passion, empathy. They always buy off emotion. And so at the end of the day, it's all about getting people to feel what you're wanting them to feel, getting them to feel an emotional response that gets them to say yes. And that's the hardest problem. It's actually getting people to say yes, because innately as humans, we're wired to say no and to be a little bit resistive. Now, I won't get into the basics of the science behind it, but it's been categorically proved that we're always a little bit resistant. So we need to get to a yes as the first point of call. So the challenge is this, is if we stop and have a think about how people are wired and what we actually do, even regarding goals, for instance, we start to understand why we need to market problems and not promises. So there's only three types of goals, like three types of aspirations for people. First of all, and I'll write this down on a post-it note so those that are playing along visually can actually understand this. First of all, the first type is away. So it's away from goals. We're trying to actually get away from something. So we're trying to get away from pain. We're trying to get away from not being able to wash our hair with a shoulder injury, or we're trying to actually be able to, get away from the pain and discomfort of having a wry neck and looking over our shoulder as we, get our seatbelt or check a blind spot in the car. Like diabetics wanting to get away from, retinopathies and potential amputations. Some people are wanting to get away from death. So it's always an away from goal. Some people want to get off medication, for instance, like heart disease, etc. So they want to get away from blood pressure medications, for instance. So it's always an away from goal. Now, once people actually achieve that away from goal, they actually want to go and they actually have a towards goal. And again, so number 2 is a towards goal. And with the towards goal, they might actually now go, let's say they've got rid of their back pain. And their back pain as such has now allowing them to get up and down and move around, sit and stand for longer periods. But now they actually want to get towards something. And the towards goal might be, I want to actually get back to being able to, kick the footy out the back with my new grandson. Or it might be, well, not in the kicking a ball with a new grandson, because the kid's going to probably be struggling to sit upright, let alone kick a footy. But you get what I'm saying. It's about moving ourselves towards a new goal. So it might actually be that, someone's lost a lot of weight and so they've got away from death or they've got away from heartburn and things like that. And they're now starting to go towards something such as, I'd love to be able to go and do a 2-kilometer walk between this park and that park with my daughter. She's got a new baby. She likes to go walking with the pram, and I'd love to be able to have the ability to walk 2 or 3 kilometers with her once or twice a week or whatever it happens to be. So it's now coming a towards goal. And then after that, we start to get into I'm just going to write charity there. It's the charitable or philanthropic type goals is the third one there. And that becomes a scenario where people then go, I want to do a fun run. I want to raise some money and do a fun run, or I've got a good friend of mine doing a 500K run month to raise money for Fred Holloway's foundation. So we always have 3 types of goals. And when we understand that, then we start to actually understand how we need to market this. Feeling very visual today. So I'm going to draw out another little thing here for those playing along. And we basically have what we call a 2 futures type model that we have to always think about when we're marketing. And this is the difference between just marketing things and stuff and actually marketing that works, that's based around feeling and based around emotion, that's always going to drive a better result in the health and medical industry. So I'm going to draw it out here for those that aren't seeing this. Let's just take like a crosshair. So you've got a vertical line and a horizontal line divided up into 4 boxes. On the left-hand side, we write the word now, and on the right-hand side, we put the word then. At the top, we put the word towards, and at the bottom, we put the word away. So it basically becomes like a four box, if that's sort of on the screen there. So it's towards at the top, away at the bottom. Now is on the left, and then is on the right. And actually, I'll just reach over here off my whiteboard and grab a blue pen as a whiteboard marker. It'll work on a Post-it note. But basically, where they start is here somewhere at the left-hand side near the now, right? And they're either going to be just a bit above that line or a bit below that line. They might be trying to get towards something or they're trying to get away from something. But either way, there's a small little gap in many respects between where they are at the moment. Now, there's only pretty much, as I change colors, there's pretty much only 2 ways they can go here. It's a 2 futures model. They either continue on the path that they're going and they start to go further away, and obviously it dips down below. And as you can see from those playing along at home visually, it actually starts dipping away. So as it goes further along from the now on the left across to the then, they actually start to tailor off in that type of avenue and they don't get what they want. And it becomes a negative-based scenario. On the other side of things, the second avenue is they actually start to go towards their goal. And as they go from the now to then, left to right, it actually starts to tailor up. And so what we actually start to find very simply is we need to be able to market this gap. And I'm marking it down here. So this gap over here is the bigger gap that's going to happen over time. So if we're here at this point here, and this is where they're going to be, no one ever stays at the same place at the same rate. You're either going to be going further away from what you want or further towards what you want. And so what we actually have to do is we have to actually stretch this gap over here, all right, as I try and work it backwards into the camera in front of me. So we've got to stretch that gap. Now, if they're currently at this point A, and we know they're going to be at B, either up here or down there, like that becomes a big differential. And it becomes an avenue for us to be able to market based on the problem and not the promise. Because the driver for someone to make a cognitive decision, an emotional decision, particularly when it comes to health, when it comes to medical, is always going to be stronger for them to get away from something. And so as a net result, we want to be able to market the problem, not the promise. Because people fundamentally become stagnant, and when they feel overwhelmed or when they feel underwhelmed, they will do nothing. There's the phrase that a confused mind buys nothing. If we try and talk too much about what we can do, the value we can give, we've got this option, that option, there's one-on-one, there's group, there's this, there's that. People get confused. They get overwhelmed, and a confused mind buys nothing. So as a net result, the more options you give them, the less they will actually buy. The lower your conversion will be, the less clients you see, and ultimately the less lives you can improve. So you won't have the business growth, and your marketing, in your eyes, will seem like it doesn't work. It's why so many people look at different options and say, oh, well, I tried that once and it didn't work, or that doesn't work for my business. The vast majority of times, I beg to differ. It's not actually that the marketing approach that you took was wrong. In many respects, it could be absolutely smack on the right area or avenue, but it was the wrong way for you to actually put it forward in that capacity. So if we stop and have a look at that, we start to understand that the 2 futures model shows us that we need to be marketing the actual problem, not the promise. The more you try and tap dance like a cat on an old tin hot roof, the more you look a little bit desperate. The more people start to go, like they're trying too hard, they're trying to sell me, they're trying to market, it becomes icky, and no one wants to be the used car salesman. So that's another reason why we need to not try and push too hard on the promise. And ultimately, at the end of the day, people are always making a purchasing decision based on the problem of what they're trying to get away from, or the challenge or roadblock that they're faced with right now, than actually what they ultimately aspire to. All right. People will make a decision when they've got a shotgun pointed at their child. They'll make that decision much easier and quicker than just proactively doing something that they perceive to be of benefit or something that they might want to do or need to do. They will always make that decision based on desperation, based on getting away from something, getting away from death, getting away from disease, getting away from, the financial implications of all these medicines, etc. The heartburn, the horrible feelings of this or that, pain, etc. And so when you can make them have a purchasing decision based on the problem, you should always use leverage in that capacity. Might sound a bit harsh, not really, because ultimately at the end of the day, if I can make a marketplace listen to my message and my marketing because I'm marketing the problem, not the promise, then that ultimately means that I can actually see more clients. We can build our business, we can have more influence, we can have greater impact, we can help more people. So if it means that we can change our language, change the way in which we approach things to actually get a stronger focus, more people being converted into our marketing funnels so that we can help empower and inspire their lives to be more fruitful, more happy, more beneficial, then we've done our job. So every now and again, I do get someone saying to me, I don't think that that's right to market the problem. We should be marketing what they could achieve. Absolutely, you could if you want to. But I'll tell you right now, if you want to have greater impact, if you want to change more lives, if you want to build your business and your team, which ultimately will then change more lives, you have to be able to market the problem and not the promise. Stretch that gap. Make them realize this is the way forward and get them a motive about making a decision based on what they're trying to get away from, the problem that you're trying to get them away from. All right? Absolutely. Can you put avenues in there about the promise or the guarantees, etc.? Yes, you can. All right. But the vast majority of your wording and your message has to be about their problem, what their challenge is, and how you can get them away from that into whatever it is they further desire from there. And that's why marketing the problem, not the promise, will always drive you better marketing results in the health and medical industry. Hope that helps. Go and tweak your message, go and get it right, and you watch the amount of impact and benefit that you'll be able to have for yourself, your team, and your business and your clients moving forward from here. I'll talk to you again very soon. Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Profitable Practice Podcast. I would love nothing more than for you to be able to leave a review. I get so much joy out of listening and reading the amazing things that you guys say about this. So please subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Let's get some more fantastic information out there so all of us can grow the industry together. Cheers for now.